Back now with I-Team Aid, women experiencing homelessness in Bloomington are scrambling to find a place to live because a prominent women's-only shelter is closing September 1st.
I-Team Aid's Cody Fisher was in Bloomington to find out why the shelter is closing and the impact it's having on the community.
These are some of the 40 beds that, as of September 1st, will remain empty once the women's shelter closes. Wheeler Mission tells me the decision to close was one of the hardest decisions they've had to make.
Joyce Brown became homeless in July.
It is scary being out on the street. You know, I don't know anybody hardly in Bloomington.
She's been staying at the Wheeler Mission Women's Shelter, but in 10 days, that won't be an option anymore as she tries to get back on her feet. And she's not alone. 16 other women staying at the shelter are in the same boat.
We're all trying our best, you know, to have another place to go, you know. I mean, we're all worried about it.
Brown says she's been trying to find a bed somewhere else and a path to more stable housing.
There's a lot of waiting lists everywhere you go.
You just kind of been running into roadblock after roadblock?
Yep. Sure have.
Dana Jones is the director of the Wheeler Mission in Bloomington. He has 24 years of experience working to help people who are experiencing homelessness.
This is probably one of the most difficult decisions I've ever made in that history. It is heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, kept me up many nights, because I knew the gap we'd leave behind.
He says they're the only shelter that provides services strictly for women. In 2021, they got funding from other organizations, local government, and donors to stay open for a year. They stretched that money all the way until now, but that funding has dried up. Since the pandemic, they've sheltered 365 women. During that same time, they housed 1,400 men at their shelter in Bloomington, which is where they're increasing their focus now.
We're going to throw a lot more resources at deepening our services to that greater population of those in need.
Jones says they want to keep the women's shelter open, but there just isn't enough money.
What would you guys need to keep the doors open?
Well, we'd need a lot of help.
If Wheeler Mission and the women's shelter were to remain open, would you stay there?
Yes, I would, because they've been so sweet to me.
Wheeler Mission tells me they do have the goal of reopening this shelter. They just don't know when. Reporting in Bloomington, Cody Fisher, Wish TV, I-Team Aid.